with you. I think he was
My
tired.
superpower. Hey guys,
I'm so sorry.
Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, and today I'm hanging out with BJ Hensly of Playground Adventures and a ton of other stuff. Actually, I'm going to let you tell everybody what it is you do because there's so much of it.
You mean I have to remember? So I'm the founder of Playground Adventures. We make family-friendly games, and we have a lot of things going on right now, from the Last Unicorn RPG to gamification and education, and working in mental health facilities to help teach children social skills via role-playing games. I also am the business and marketing manager for Lone Wolf Development, the makers of Hero Lab. We're working on Hero Lab Online, which is really, really cool. It's in beta phase right now. I work with the Role-Playing Creators Relief Fund to help people in role-playing games get aid when they need it. It's a charity organization. I work for a variety of different publishers, from Kobold Press to Adventure a Week, Rite Publishing. Oh gosh. I worked on the Prince Valiant Kickstarter. I did a cameo for the new Baby Bestiary book coming out at the Atlas. I am creating the logo and doing the layout and doing an adventure for Tiny Dungeon 2E. I'm writing a novel. I do a lot of things for a lot of people. I'm a bard. I bard. That's what I do.
Based off of the description that you just, the list of things that you're involved in, I can't even nail down what exactly your skill set is, because it does very much seem like
bard. Yeah. Oh, and I also own Women in Game Design. We are a group that helps connect the women artists and cartographers and marketing people and authors and game designers to the world and to other publishers, because we've been here since day one, and we'll be here when it ends. I know it is kind of hard. I think I do art. I'm an author. I'm a cartographer. My degree is in business and marketing. I bard. That's the best answer I can give you.
Well, the RPG industry is a tough niche to make a living in, and you're very successful in doing it well, because you're doing it pretty much one of the few ways that you can, and that
all the time.
A lot. Yes.
Yeah, I work 100+ hours a week. There's not very often I get a day off. I don't take vacations. I find myself saying things like, I need to step away, I need to take a break, I can't take any more work, and then someone will come along in need of aid or having a bad day, and the next thing I know, I'm creating a whole new company for games created by women only. That was my day yesterday. So I just can't not work. I don't sleep a lot, so I get 14 months in a year. I'm a little lucky.
So if you could pick one area to just work in instead of doing everything, do you have one thing that you would want to do, or do you like bouncing back and forth and always changing what you're doing?
I'm super ADD, so I do like to have variety. I find that I need something, whether it's art or to know how to build a website or anything of that kind. And I just go off and I teach myself to do it. And about the time I've figured it all out, I get bored with it. So I certainly do need a variety of projects to keep me entertained. But if I had the choice, I would just work for PG, I think, take on a few cameo projects here and there. My biggest passion from all my talents is writing. When I was 4 years old, I decreed I was going to be a writer, and that was that. And that's what I've done. So probably that would be what I would stick with if I had to pick one thing.
So you guys just announced that you have the license for The Last Unicorn.
We did. It's very exciting. I've been a fan of The Last Unicorn my entire life. When I was a kid, we had the VCR tapes, and I watched it until the tape died, and then I got another one and watched it till the tape died. And so it's always been, I think, close to my heart and other people's. We get a lot of positive feedback about it. I'm buried in emails and messages and requests, but most of it is positive. So we're super excited about that. We're also launching our own in-house rule set so that we can work better with schools and libraries as opposed to being a third-party publisher. It's called UNI, the Ultimate Nexus of Imagination. It is a success-driven system with modular rules. It allows you to go from very simple for little UNI all the way up to the complexity that adults are more interested in.
Are you using that system in any other games right now?
Not at this time. We actually also, I spoke to the author of the Camp Myth IP some time ago, and he handed it to me and said, "This, you can do this better than anybody." And so we will actually be launching it with The Last Unicorn, but there will be rules for Camp Myth as well. And Camp Myth is a little bit special because while we will be selling it, a good chunk of the proceeds will actually be going to help humane societies and dogs and cats in need across the world. Just like the Last Unicorn will actually be going to help children and reading literacy programs.
That's awesome. Now, in case someone doesn't know what Camp Myth is, could you tell us what that is?
So Camp Myth is all about these monsters who have gone to camp. So if you think about Rick Riordan's books, it's pretty much like that, but it's about monsters instead of the children of gods. So you've got, you know, Medusa at camp as a teenager and minotaurs and monsters.
Nice. Now, someone in the chat is asking, oh, Chris, excited to see what's coming from Lone Wolf. Now, I haven't used those products in a while, but I used to use them religiously when we used to play Mutants and Masterminds.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Good rule set.
It was such a great, it was a great tool for building characters. It made it so much easier, and I just like clicking buttons anyway. So
yeah, it's amazing. You know, my kids use it. We use it. I've used it since it was out. And the desktop version is fantastic. It's, you know, it's a little dated looking, but it does everything under the sun. And I've tried out other programs like before I worked for the company, you know, because I was like, I want something prettier. And I never found anything that worked as well. So it is definitely the leader in character creation. I recommend it to absolutely everybody. When I came onto the company, they asked me if I could change one thing, what would I change first? And I said, I want Hero Lab to be pretty and I want it to be online. And so now we have Hero Lab online in beta, and it is very pretty, and it is bright and vivid and online. And one of the things though that people always ask, and so I'll get this out of the way because I've heard this question 10,000 times, is what about data? And our people have made it where this particular online program doesn't update all the time. It only updates the information that's changing. So you can do an entire game session and use single number megabytes. We're talking like 7 for a 4 to 6 hour game. So it's not going to be intensive on your data usage.
Oh, nice. So, you know, people won't have an issue with that. That's
no.
a good thing.
Well, and the most amazing thing about it is now that we're bringing it online, you know, you're no longer limited. You're no longer tied to your desktop or your laptop, and you can use it on your phone. You can use it on Android. You can use it on Apple. You can use it on Windows. You can use it on Mac. You can use it a tablet. It doesn't matter. Anywhere you can connect to a web browser, you can now take your character with you and use it at a game.
So guys, as always, there is links in the descriptions for everything BJ's involved with, and I doubt that is everything, to be honest with you. There's probably more as well.
I forget things all the time. I just did a Pathways article, I think, and sometimes I'm surprised by seeing my name. I'm like, oh, I forgot I did that. That's really neat. So.
Now you had mentioned you're working on a novel. Is there anything that we can talk about?
I don't even know if I can say the title of the novel live because it has a curse word in it.
No, you can. That's fine.
Okay, so yeah, so I was asked to write a novel called The Bitch in the Boardroom, and it's actually just all about women in business industries in general. It's not even about gaming per se. It's about being an executive in companies where it's primarily men, and how the personalities that we women have are often used against us, though if we were men, they would certainly be praised and sought after.
Gotcha. So when can we expect that?
I'm going to go with 2019.
Nice.
My agent would like to see it sooner, but I am a very busy woman, so we'll see.
Yeah, that definitely happens. We actually have Fantasy Grounds in the house. I don't know if that's actual Doug or one of the other partners.
Doug is wonderful. I love Doug.
Yeah, we're working with him right now for our Saber Dice collaborative YouTube.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, he was one of the sponsors in season 1, and he's coming back for season 2. So that's awesome. We've been using Fantasy Grounds for those games. So that's been a lot of fun.
Fantasy Grounds is beautiful. It's a great program.
Yeah, I'm cutting my teeth on. I'm such a grognard when it comes to like at the table and stuff. I do like using a laptop, but other than that, like anything extra, like when I watch someone that uses a virtual tabletop and they're doing it well, they remind me of a conductor of an orchestra.
Oh yeah, I can't say that I use Fantasy Grounds a lot because let's be honest, I don't get as much time to game as I would like. When I do GM, I'm honestly probably have 5 minutes of prep time, and it's all off the top of my head. I don't have time for prep work. But I know that Playground Adventures, we actually have several modules available in Fantasy Grounds. I think we have A Friend in Need, Pixies on Parade, and the ridiculously popular Creature Components book has recently come out over there too.
Yeah, are they geared towards a younger audience?
What is they? I said 3 things. I'm not sure.
Those modules you just mentioned.
The modules, so they are, our company has ranges, and a lot of people look at things like A Friend in Need and go, oh gosh, why would children need something that simple? And the answer to that is that we actually start gaming with children at age 4. So they are for 4 and up. A Friend in Need is probably the only one that I would say this is too simple for an older child. I can't envision an older child having too much fun with A Friend in Need without some tweaks. Now, I have run that particular module with 13-year-olds, and it goes really well, but it's not run straight from the book. It is changed along the way. Everything else is probably good for all ages. Pixies on Parade, it's this weird thing that fits in no particular age group. You can play it with a 4-year-old and they'll have a lot of fun. You can play it with adults. As I've always said, Tilo in Zeitgeist, he loves that book. And, it was voted for, I think, top 10 of 2016. And then its sequel, Nightmares on Parade, actually was, I believe, #1 for top 10 of 2016. And it can be twisted to be this dark, horrific imagination magic, and he loves doing that. So it can be played with absolutely anybody, but the base of the adventure is also playable for 4 and up. They do scale, and there's advice in a lot of them for how to play with very small children. It's just a matter of how you choose to make use of it.
Now, Fantasy Grounds says Creature Components Volume 1 is pretty cool for all DMs. And is that in Pathfinder and 5e or just 5e?
It is. It's actually, we have it in Pathfinder and 5e. We had it. Our relationship with Fantasy Grounds as far as Playground goes is a little bit interesting. So we have there's a fan of ours out there who was very kind, and people kept asking us, when can we see these things in Fantasy Grounds? And I had touched base with Doug a few times, but to be honest, I hadn't been good about getting back in touch. And I didn't have time myself to convert these. And this fan just came along and was like, hey, I put this in Fantasy Grounds. Here you go. And I didn't know what to say, really. I wanted to make sure he got some kind of financial compensation for it first. That's very important to me. But he was just so excited to put these books in for us. And so he just kind of went off and started doing it. And so I negotiated that Fantasy Grounds would see that he got some percentage and got paid. And he's recently done Creature Components, but we've only got the 5e because he doesn't convert. He doesn't play Pathfinder, and we've had a lot of requests for it, so we should probably get the Pathfinder version in. Creature Components is our best-selling book. We've sold thousands of copies of it. It's unique, it's fun. We're actually getting ready to release a version of Creature Components that companions Tome Beasts. I've spoken to Wolf about it. It's going to be just a companion piece to the Tome Beast, and it's going to have creature components for the creatures in his Tome Beast book. So I think that'll be exciting, and I'm sure we'll make it to Fantasy Grounds as well.
The folks over at Fantasy Grounds, especially the Fantasy Grounds college people, are fanatical. They're super helpful. I had a question about something, and so I just jumped on their Discord, and like the only thing I know how to use less than Fantasy Grounds is probably Discord. So
what is a Discord?
See, exactly, right? It's like another like talk to chat,
like Slack or
yeah. It's I guess it's kind of like that, which I don't use Slack either.
I barely use it.
But I've been kind of like messing with the Discord a little bit. So I was fumbling around over there. Someone else had to show me how to even find like the Discord group that I was looking for. And I finally get in there, and like as soon as I asked the question, I don't even know what happened, but I ended up on Fantasy Grounds in a audio chat with somebody walking me through how to do the thing that I wanted to do. And
they are super, super helpful. Doug is just good people. And I think that helps his company be a good company. It's very hard not to be supportive of Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah, Jen kind of actually got to meet Doug in person and talk to him for like 20 minutes or so.
I call him Captain America. I call him Cap. That's what I call him. I think it's very fitting.
He does have a little bit of that look.
It's not just his look. It's his whole moral base and how he behaves and how he sort of reacts to life. I think he's very noble.
We also have a couple people have mentioned they saw you on GM Tips.
Oh, with Satine, yeah, that was so much fun. I flew out and stayed with Satine and borrowed her TARDIS pajamas, and we had a sleepover and all kinds of fun, and then did the Geek and Sundry thing. I was half asleep, so I'm sorry if that didn't turn out well.
No, I thought it was great. I thought it was definitely a good one. It's definitely one of the ones I made it a point to check out. There's only so much content. I only have time to take in so much.
Yeah, I know. I get a lot of questions from friends and fans. Hey, have you seen this thing? And a lot of times I just haven't. I want to support everywhere. I want to help where I can. I want to share what I can. But I am only one person, and I find the more you're in this industry, the less time you have to follow the news and all the new fun things. So I feel like I often get the information and find out about things much later than the average gamer, unless I'm working on it, which of course is different.
So Geek and Undies has a question for you. He's also the one that said, he enjoyed your GM tips, but I do educational work with DD consumers. Do you have a demo kit for the various lines that I can show the board in order to order for our county?
We don't have those online. We do a lot of special, unique adventures and put things together for schools and libraries. And we will actually have more of an online presence where you can order that. We're working with the Follett Company to have our educational products in their online store where schools and libraries can buy them. But what we do is if you just email me, I can set up something for you and mail you something. And there's no charge. I just like to help in those situations.
That's awesome.
And my email address is bjhensley@playgroundadventures.net.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a contact us spot on the website somewhere.
There is. Yeah, you can contact customer service, and that will also eventually trickle down into my email if it's that kind of request, because I have to make the decision on who we send free material to, which is most schools.
Aaron Marks, we are going to do an FGC, which is Fantasy Grounds College sponsored Women in Gaming webinar again in January, and okay. I think he's soliciting for an appearance.
Again, if you contact me at BJ Hensly at playgroundadventures.net, I'm happy to discuss that. I would need to know a little bit about who's involved, who's sponsoring it, where you're having it at, before I could commit to that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously. So, how did you go about founding Playground Adventures? What was the impetus for that?
Part of it was just that there wasn't a lot of games for children. So I've worked with autistic kids and ADD kids, and my own and other people's. I have an active member in the PTA and the church, and I taught scouts. I was a Cub Master for a while. And I've used role-playing games as a tool for many, many years. And one of the things that I discovered as I had more and more children, and my older children wanted to run games for the 4- and 5-year-olds, was that there wasn't a lot of material out there for parents. And I ordered a book off Amazon to give as a Christmas gift to my oldest son. He's 21 now, but at the time he was only like 16. And I will leave the book nameless, but it was not appropriate. It was just, it was an adventure path thing. And I thought, it would be fine. And I was reading the very beginning of it, and just in the beginning, I was finding things that were not probably fine for the 16-year-old, but certainly were not appropriate for 4 and 5 and 6. And I had been working with teachers and you know, school groups for a really long time, and I had all of this material that I had written for them, and I thought, well, why not get it out there? Why not help other parents? Because I would ask other parents and other people in the game industry, and they'd be like, yeah, there's not really anything like that. And there are a few things now. I actually think there's more now than there was when I founded the company. When I founded the company, it was just so hard to find anything. But now we have these wonderful things like No Thank You Evil, which I'm a huge supporter of. I think it's amazing. And, you know, you've got Hero Kids, which we actually do some content for Hero Kids. But there wasn't any of that. And so I thought, okay, let's do this. Let's put it out there so that other parents and teachers can have this information. The other thing is I've been in this industry a long time, and one of the things that has always bothered me is it's sort of the, you know, hidden in the basement, you shouldn't be doing that the type of mentality that goes along with it. And
taboo. It's always been kind of taboo.
Yeah, it's always been kind of taboo. And one thing that I find is very useful is using RPG tools with just about anything. And it's funny to me that you can go to your grandmother or your church or whatever, and you can speak to these people, and they're like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons. Oh gosh, we don't do that. That's taboo. It's evil. It's a gateway for cultic things, and you know. And I find it's really easy to counter that by simply saying that role playing has been used since forever. We use it in mental health. When your psychiatrist is speaking to children and they're asking them, how could you have better handled that? Well, let's say we're in this situation and this person comes up and they say this horrible, hateful thing to you. What is the best response you can give to that? That is role playing. When you are teaching, I used to be an executive for AT&T, and I used to train salespeople. And when I was training those salespeople, we would use role playing. One of us would be the customer, one of us would be the sales agent, and we would role play back and forth. That is role playing. That is all D&D is. So my vision is actually a little bit bigger than Playground Adventures. My vision is to lift gaming into the rest of the world. I want to see it played in schools. I want to see it played at the library. I want to see it played in households just like Monopoly is. And that's where the ultimate nexus of imagination comes in, because in order to do that, we have to change the face of it. We have to change the name of it. We have to make a simplified system that anybody can pick up and anybody can use, and that we can relate to the simple fact that role-playing has been around as long as people have.
I mean, we're making a lot of strides in that direction. Anyway.
We are.
I mean,
we absolutely are.
Wizards of the Coast streams D&D on Twitch every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's Stranger Things and and other shows are kind of highlighting it. So
yeah, we've made a lot of strides in the last several years in making that a reality, and I think that is something that is very, very important, because gaming is such a important tool, and it's such a useful tool. Like, role-playing can be used for so many things, for so many good things. And I think the future of education involves gamification. I truly believe that. It is the gap between the older generations and the younger generations.
So Aaron Marks has a question. Do you intend to do a unicorn supplement? It sounds like you're going to do a unicorn game. So
a unicorn supplement. I'm not sure what he's looking for there. We just launched the announcement that we have the right to produce a role-playing game for the last unicorn. So we're going to do an entire campaign for the last unicorn. There will probably be adventures and supplements and whatnot as well. But we have to get the core book out there first.
So yeah, so how far into that are you guys? I mean, I know you guys just announced it.
We just announced it, but we've been working on it for a long time. I believe it'll be out the early spring next year.
Oh, awesome. And is that going to be geared towards younger players, or
no, I would not do that to the TLU fans. That would be cruel. There will be things that can be played with younger players. It'll be family friendly. There will be the ability to play it with any age, like everything we do. but it's not going to be simplified or dumbed down or anything like that. The content will be usable. And before anybody asks, because I get this question a lot, yes, at some point we will probably port it over to either Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons. So
yeah,
we'll make sure.
I did get some brony accusations when I started sharing around The Last Unicorn, and I have to call out the guy that did it, because he's our nerd and editor over on the website. I'm like, you're almost as old as me. You got to know what The Last Unicorn is. He's
right? Like, that's the thing. Everybody should know what that is.
Yeah, but I mean, that came out in like the 80s, right? Or was it 90s?
Yeah, I say 80s, I think. We actually do Pony Finder books too, though. So yeah. We are the only company who can actually produce Pony Finder other than David Silver. So we have the license to use his logo. We have a couple adventures out there, but The Last Unicorn is something entirely different, and it will be based on the books. So we don't just have the movie to go off of. There's other content as well.
Yeah. We were actually talking about it before our game started, and I, one of the other players, and I didn't realize it either. There's like, in the books, and they're talking about all the different properties for The Last Unicorn. So my players were very excited to get that new.
That's wonderful. We've had such an outpouring of love for this project, and I'm really excited and honored to be working on it. And the team that we have working on it, I think will do a fantastic job. There's myself and Playground Adventures. We have such a fantastic crew. I cannot rave about them enough. Our master mechanics, Stephen Rowe, is fabulous. And then James Gray is our professor of puzzles, and he has such a wonderfully creative mind, and he's so good with creating, puzzles and games for children and at the table that he can put in the book. So we'll have like Sudoku in there and these in-depth puzzles they can solve while they're waiting their turn. And Daniel Marshall is our layout designer. He's also the co-owner of the company. And he's the author of Creature Components. So we have some great things there. And then for The Last Unicorn, we also have on board Roan Barton and Amber Scott, who are both fantastic people as well.
Awesome. Oh, speaking of Roan, you're also working with him and his partner, right?
Oh yeah, Ron and Lou for Grimmerspace. They're doing that really cool Starfinder sort of dark, no magic. Well, there is some magic campaign that they've got, and I've been helping them find people and giving a little bit of marketing and advice. And I think I'm doing a cameo bit for the Kickstarter.
Nice, which I believe their Kickstarter is going on right now. So if you guys want to check that out.
It's not actually. When Wesley Snipes came on board, and then they also, I think Lou is a friend of Sean Astin, and so I guess he'll be on there too. They wanted to take some time to allow those people to have more time for their marketing to spin up and just to make it the best project they could. I actually don't know what I'm authorized to say about their project, so I hope I haven't said too much or
okay, we'll cut it right there then.
Yeah, I would like them to be able to speak about their amazing accomplishment. They're both very talented individuals, and I think it's a passion project for them that they should be allowed to speak on.
Absolutely. So Geek and Undies has another question. Since you nailed down the licensing rights to The Last Unicorn RPG, are you trying to curate other book film content like Miss Frisbee? Sure. And The Rats of Nim, Princess Bride.
Oh, The Rats of Nim. Well, I don't think we'll touch Princess Bride. Nim might be a good one. We're always looking for new intellectual properties. We have a few that we're working on that are actually not old. They're sort of things that are popular now. But I probably shouldn't mention those until ink is dry. Otherwise, it gives people hope. And then what if I have to take it away later?
Probably not. We got in trouble in the early days of Nerdarchy. We went to Looney Labs for Tabletop Day, and we're like, "Hey, can we take pictures? We're going to put it on social media." And they're like, "Sure." And then, like within 5 minutes of being, they're like, "Where's Nerdarchy at?" Because they had a bunch of stuff that they were in licensing contracts with. It's like, yeah, we need to take that stuff down. And then we had to figure out which social media automatically goes to which other social media. And it was a thing. I'm like, well, that didn't take long to get all my story out.
Yeah, you got to be careful. And sometimes I forget. So that's the problem with the fact that you do live podcasts. You're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's out there now and you can't take it back. So.
Well, yeah. Zareth Gaming has a question. Do you know any role-playing game programs for adults dealing with mental health?
I mean, I'm thinking. We have some coming out, and we'll have apps soon where you can do almost a choose your own adventure to help teach good social skills. I think I don't quite understand what the question is, like mental health and what, because there's a lot of directions that could go, and I'm not sure what to advise.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure either. I guess just because you've used role-playing for a tool so much, I imagine that's why, why Zareth Gaming is asking.
Right. Well, and we do, at my personal table and at conventions, we do have, adventures and things that are better geared toward a table with, adults with mental health problems, but we don't have any out now. And the thing is each mental health issue is often handled in a different way. So I hate to give some advice for the wrong one without specifics. I was trying to think if there was another company other than ours that had things. I'm sure there must be, but I don't know who they would be to call them out, unfortunately. If I think of something, though, I will certainly give it to you and you can link it later.
Yeah, and there might just not be, because I know we've had, healthcare and mental health care professionals reach out to us and say, hey, we're doing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually just an individual. It's nothing organized or formal.
Right. Like I did when I was guest of honor at Gen Con, I did a panel on that kind of thing. So there's certainly places you can go to speak or to hear people speak on the subject. But actual material, I don't know that there's a lot out there. I'm sure there must be. Maybe other people might know to make things in the comments. I'll look around and see if I can find something. PG will eventually have things like that. We just don't have them out at this time for the public.
So since we're talking around gaming, what kind of gaming are you doing personally?
I don't get to game as much as I would like. In fact, I don't even remember the last time I went to a convention and actually got to play a game just for fun. We do have an in-house game that we play once a month. That particular game is 5th edition. We have a Pathfinder game that we play probably every other month. We are building our own city inside of a mountain, and it's an all-inclusive city with, my character is a bard, and well, actually, she's a ribbon dancer, which is a type of bard that uses various elements as weapons, which you can't find anywhere because I wrote it. And it's not out there. Sorry. It will be. I think eventually I actually told Owen over at Rogue Genius, I've got the art for it. It's beautiful art, but I just haven't put it into a book for him. And so she goes around collecting various creatures that you would think of as evil who are not sort of outcasts from their society and brings them into the city, who also has elves and dwarves and everything else. And so we're creating an all-inclusive city in that game. It's fun. I game with kids, of course. I have the children's games that we run. Sometimes we play No Thank You Evil. Sometimes we play Pathfinder. Sometimes we play 5th edition. It just depends on the day. I think that's it at the moment.
I really enjoy having you in my Facebook feed, because whenever you post, there's always like something interesting that's going to go by my feed. I believe there was one day, it was your kids, and it looked like maybe the older one was either tied or duct taped up in like being dragged across the floor, and you're like, yeah, I came out of my office to go to the kitchen and start making dinner. This is what I saw, and I turned around and just went back.
I did. I really did. It was funny because my children are very amusing. They have amazing senses of humor, and they're really good kids, and they're very good about managing themselves and being quiet while I'm working, because I do work from home, and I'm fortunate enough to have a very beautiful office that I can work from, but it is in my house. And so I was kind of wrapping up for the day and thinking about going to make dinner, and I was like, it's been so quiet, and I step out and I walk into the kitchen, and my youngest boy has duct taped the 16-year-old boy, and his hands are duct taped and his feet are duct taped and his mouth is duct taped, and he's dragging walking him through the kitchen, and the dog is there like barking at them, and I just look and I shake my head and I walk away because there are no words. Now I can tell you that the little one couldn't have done that without the older one's permission, but they knew they were waiting too until I came out of the office. They just thought that would be funny to do that to mom, and so they just waited till they saw me and then came down the hallway. They do that all the time.
On a watch list somewhere.
Do what?
I said, and now mommy's on a watch list somewhere.
Oh, my kids are hilarious. They like to wait until company that we don't know comes over, like new people in the house, and then crack jokes about how they used to have a seventh sibling, but that sibling made mommy mad one day, you know, or we have a monster that lives in the dishwasher. One of my older children convinced one of the younger children that the toilet had a monster in it, so potty training was a nightmare. They are practical jokers, all of them. They like to have fun. I love taking them to the store. It's fortunate that I'm not easily embarrassed by those sort of things. They're actually really well behaved in the store, but I love going to the mall with some of my older kids, and we have a lot of fun. I took them to school the other day, and I had all of them in the car to drop them off, and they have to be dropped off at a variety of different schools. And we had music on, and we were all dancing around, and I went to drop off the oldest child, and there was I'm not sure, like a road monitor or something out in front of the high school, and I don't usually drop these children off. It was one of those things. And so we're all dancing around and singing, and we didn't have inappropriate music on, but it was really loud. And the woman said that I probably shouldn't have my music so loud in the car in the school, that it wasn't good for my siblings' ears, because she assumed I was their sister, their older sister, instead of their mother. And my children, without missing a beat, that were in the back, they're smaller, they're like 8 and 10, and they go, "Yeah, we're gonna tell mom on you." And I had no other response than to stick my tongue out at the teenager and them and say, "I don't care what you do," and drive off. So we have a little too much fun sometimes. It probably isn't the best thing to do, but
that's funny. Did you also, for your anniversary, did you get your husband a dragon head?
I did. So our anniversary present was the WizKids. I got him the WizKids dragon head, and it's mounted in our foyer. So when you come in, the first thing you see is this red dragon head. Rawr. It's really neat.
And I swear to God, I'm not a stalker.
No, it's fine. I have people that know more about my life than my family does because of Facebook, I think, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't post all day long. I don't. So I think that it's easy to keep up with my posts too, because they're not as frequent as some
when
people.
You do, there's high impact value.
Yeah, they're usually funny. I try to always be positive or have something comedic to say. I try to avoid the negatives when I can.
So you've got 6 kids. That's a lot of kids.
I do. I have 6 children.
Wow.
5 boys, 1 little girl. The little girl is the youngest. They range 21 to 8.
So is it like that a goal? The little girl? You're like,
no, the 5 boys were mine, and then I am on my second marriage. So my current husband has a little girl who's 8. So I kind of got her by default. I did always want a girl, and that certainly played into how many children I had. I planned to have 4, and we had 5. Sometimes things like that happen, but I always wanted a big family. Our house is a little noisy, and I love imagination games and having a large family, and I want to know that as I age, my family will grow to be even bigger, and I will have love and light and joy surrounding me.
So we do a thing here where we jump into the chat for roll call and figure out where people are coming from. So if you guys want to start the roll call, we stopped at 2. I figured no one puts out 2 pepper shakers or 2 salt shakers. We got 1 of each. We're good. we can play man to man on the coverage.
Yeah, there you go.
And then and the second one was trying anyway.
Okay.
My daughter, she's a pistol. And
oh, you know what? I have 5 boys, and I can manage all 5 of those boys easier than I can that 1 little girl. And I used to just be like, oh God, why do I keep having boys? I always, when I was growing up, I thought I was going to have little girls. My family is comprised of mostly girls, and I was so excited to have my own little girl. And then I had all these boys, and I used to get kind of sad about it. And I love my boys. I wouldn't trade them for anything. But now I have this wonderful, beautiful stepdaughter, and I've been in her life since she was just a little bitty thing, so she doesn't remember a time I wasn't around. And after many years with her, I know exactly why I had boys. It's because I couldn't have managed that many girls. They are much more. White boys don't care what their hair looks like. They don't care where their clothes come from. They don't care if they get dirt on them. They're so much easier to manage. Girls are definitely more sensitive. They're wonderful, but they are different.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because my daughter is you know, she's got a speech apraxia, which isn't much of an issue now, but when she was littler, so she was speech delayed and then you know, and dyslexic as well, which she probably gets from me. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure that's probably where it came from. And but it was funny though, like she was always so much more social than my son, even though she was nonverbal. And like when she got tested, her comprehension was extremely high, but her ability to communicate was very low. So it was just a weird dynamic. But she has always been into like clothes and makeup, and my wife isn't really even into that stuff. But like that's always been like a thing for her. And now that she's 13,
oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's hard. Yeah, my stepdaughter wants to be a fashion designer. I don't know where she gets that because I think it's her friends at school. There's friends at school that want to be fashion designers, and so she's kind of wants to be that. But she also wants to be a game designer. So my kids they want to be everything all at once. Sometimes they and I'm not sure if you saw it, but I remember posting something probably last year when all the kids are out there and they're creating their own role-playing game. Some kids play house or other imagination games. Mine actually get out, you know, D&D books or Pathfinder books or whatever, and they play games where they're RPG publishers creating content. So it's funny. We probably have one of the few households in the world that have that imagination game.
Yeah, I'm like 50% for reproducing gamers. So
all my kids are gamers, every one of them. They all love to game in a variety of capacities. We, you know, we play video games, we play board games, we play tabletop games, and all of the children play them all as well.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought my daughter would get into it. Like we made a character. Like it was when she was in the Monster High at the time, so we made a character.
Oh yeah, Monster High. That's a
off of one of those characters and made it a bard so she could be like kind of like the pop star. But it just didn't stick. So
well, maybe she'll get into it later on, you know. Some kids are. I mean, a lot of people say that some kids just aren't into that. I've been very fortunate that my children are all very creative. And, you know, when they were little, we told them stories. We would do sort of choose your own adventure type stories, and they would hang out under the table and play while we were playing. So they kind of absorbed. And I think for me, working in the industry and my children being just immersed in my day-to-day life, it's probably very unlikely they would have turned out to be anything but gamers.
Osmosis.
Yeah, I mean, it really is osmosis. It's their day-to-day life. There's gaming books everywhere. We don't have a dining room. We have a game room. So when you first come into our house in the foyer, you see this giant dragon on the left-hand side. There's this sign for the Imaginarium and all of these game books. My office is covered in game books. It's every corner of our life is game related. So it's very difficult, I think, for them to be anything but gamers.
Yeah, your bookshelf has gotten some compliments in the chat. So I'm going to jump into the chat now and just run through who's there and where they're coming from. So we got Jacob in Monroe, Louisiana. We got Ghetto Stablis also in Louisiana. We've got Raven coming to us from the OZ. Yeah, some of the names are pretty funny. True Mate is in Wales. Patrick is in Sweden. Uncle Peter, Toronto, Canada. We've got Bothell, Washington with Friganator. Seattle, Washington with Aaron. Zaref Gaming is in Rodizio, New Mexico. We have Georgia in the house with Brian Collin. We have Norway in the house with ZH337A. We've got Mars Whip coming to us from Dallas. Alex is from Middle Earth. Again, I'm kind of leery of that. I'm always skeptical of the Wi-Fi there.
Lopez, I can't imagine it would do well.
Yeah. Lopez Island, Washington is AJ Kinney. We got Fantasy Grounds in Merritt Island, Florida. Utah with Regilio. Got Joe Fisher in Carneys Point, New Jersey. Santa Barbara, California with Sean. We've got Lincoln in Sweden. We got Circleville, Ohio with Geek and Undies. We've got Los Angeles, California with Chris in the house as well. So we got people coming in from all over the place, and we are really fortunate. We get a a nice mix and international audience.
You do seem to.
I'm always like,
hi everybody.
I'm always like, when I see certain countries, I'm like, it's got to be like 3 in the morning or something there.
Yeah, we have times where we have to talk to people in Australia, and it's so hard to figure out when to speak to them.
It gets really weird. I get very confused by time zones.
Well, as we all know, I do too, because wasn't I supposed to be on the show previously, and I reversed it, and so I thought it was at like 1 or something instead of 11 my time, and there was all that confusion on both our ends, and so I just didn't show up. Sorry.
But we had Stephen Rowe on, so.
I know, and Rowe is amazing. I'm just so very blessed to know the people that I do and to have the amazing team around me that I have helping me create the things that we create.
That for me has been like one of the best parts of doing Nerdarchy, is getting to meet all the great people in the industry, as well as just, you know, the community and gamers. We, you know, we at Nerdarchy specifically have been really lucky with the people that, you know, come hang out with us. Very rarely do we get, you know, a-holes in the chat. But we did our all female gaming group. Like, we had like one chat where there was some toxicity, which quickly got cut out. Not only that, like the other members and the other people in the chat, you know, that were fans of ours, immediately jumped on them.
Yeah, my fans are really supportive. I have, you know, when I first founded PG, I had some major issues, and I had to close down an email because of the hate mail I was getting, telling me to go kill myself or go back to the PTA or whatever. And fortunately, that's just, you know, sorry, it's not going to happen, and I really am not affected by that. But I also have this amazing group of supportive fans and people that say such lovely and wonderful and heartwarming things about me. And I am always thankful for that. And I think the game industry in general, there are so many helpful people that have helped me along the way throughout the many years that I've been here. And I certainly don't think anybody does it alone. I think every company, every person working has to have a team of people that is helping them in some way. And I always try to reach out and to help other people. That's one of the things that PG is known for, is we will take submissions from just about anybody. We don't promise we'll publish them, but we will give people a chance. We have an open call on our website that's always ongoing for very short after-school adventures, which is sort of our testing ground for new game designers. We especially want to reach out and help people of color and women in gaming. You know, just everybody. We want to be inclusive to all people. And I think it's important. I think in life in general, I believe, whether it's in gaming or not, that we go through life and we all have our struggles, whatever they may be. And for every person, their struggle is their worst thing. And I think eventually we overcome those things and we reach a point where we can reach out and help others. And I think that we should be obligated to do that.
That is literally one of the reasons why I do these live chats, is to expose our audience to people they may not be aware of that are doing cool things, you know, in the niche, in the hobby, or just fun, nerdy stuff.
Right. There's a lot of fun, nerdy stuff out there.
There is a lot of fun, nerdy stuff out here. And I'm lucky enough to hang out with people like yourself and you know, just talk about this stuff. And I'm lucky enough to like call this my job now. So, you know.
Yeah, because you've got sponsors and things now. And that's nice that you have that as a job. Gaming is my job. I am a full-time. I don't have one of those other jobs that I work during the day or anything. I'm full-time in this industry.
I know that some people get a little discouraged, you know, when they want to break into the industry, because they look at like Wolfgang Bauer, who has a very successful publishing company, yet still has a day job.
Well, he has insurance. He has to have insurance. I think Wolf says that in panels even, you know, like what is the advice that you can give people who want to make gaming a full-time career? And the best advice is marry somebody with health insurance.
Yeah, well, and that is true. And right now that is like an issue that we have to deal with, is figuring out, you know, health insurance and stuff like that, which is, but you know, being self-employed, that's always one of the things you have to worry about.
That is true. It can be difficult, and it's, you know, it's a hard industry to make a living in. That is true. There are people who succeed at it, but I think they are rare. I think that most of the people that are here because they truly love the game, they love the hobby, they love the environment or whatever it is, and they want to create. They're creatives making things for the love of making them.
I completely agree with everything you just said. The only thing I would add is you can absolutely make this a career. You might just have to be a little bit creative about how you do it.
You can. I cannot deny that you can make it a career. I make it a career, and there are many people that look at me and think, oh my gosh, that's great. A career can be made out of this. But I do try to advise caution, because while I make it a career and I do pretty well, I worked very hard to get here. I work 7 days a week most weeks. There are weeks that I put in over 100 hours. I rarely get a vacation. So it can be daunting.
Yeah, I call the cons my vacations, my workcations.
Workcations, there you go.
And every once in a while I luck out and get to make an appearance on Geek and Sundry and bring my wife with me out to LA.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was hearing while I was out there with Satine that that you guys had your own interesting experience as much as I did with your hotels and stuff. And I stayed with Satine, but my flight was just, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and I was so tired by the time we got onto set the next day. I honestly didn't, by the time I left, I didn't remember anything I'd said while I was there. I was a zombie through the entire process. Yeah,
I think we came in on like a Thursday and left on like a Sunday or a Monday, so we had padded it out a little bit. And also, like when we go places, we just try and connect with fans. So we wanted to set aside some time for that, and then I was like, and then we wanted to like set aside like a day to actually like almost, I guess, like be tourists and do that, and then it was awesome because we also got some extra time to hang out with Satine and Rudy and.
Right, yeah, and I got very little time to do that, which was kind of a bummer. Like Satine and I had our sleepover, and that was great, and I got to hang out with Jason from White Wolf, and so I did get to see everybody, but it was certainly brief. I think I flew in Friday. I was supposed to have more time, but I missed my flight because I stopped to help somebody who got in a car wreck, and so I didn't get there until 8 o'clock at night, I think. So I met them at the diner, and then I was out of California by like 1 or 2 in the afternoon the next day.
So here's an odd question in the chat. I think it's very complimentary though. By Aaron, would you try out for the role of Goldmoon for an inevitable movie about set in the Dragonlance D&D world?
When I was younger, I was offered a few opportunities to do TV, and I turned them down. I suppose if it paid enough. I love D&D, so I suppose that might be the only thing that could get me into TV.
So we are coming right up on the hour mark. Like I told you before we started, this would go by fairly
fast.
Time
flies, yeah.
What do you want to leave people with before we head on out?
I guess just keep gaming, keep dreaming, keep imagining. Anything is possible. That's our family motto is sort of anything is possible. And we call our house the Imaginarium, and we're most often saying we're all mad here. So just keep dreaming.
Nice. So like I said, there is a ton of links in the description, so you can go. You can find BJ all over the place and the awesome things she's involved with. I didn't actually know about the open call, so that's interesting. I know some people that might be interested in that as well.
I always enjoy helping new people break into the industry. We don't guarantee that we'll publish your things, but we certainly guarantee that we'll give you the opportunity to be heard.
Which is awesome.
Sometimes slowly. Remember, I'm very busy. It takes me a while to wade through them, but I am always happy to help where I can.
I want to thank you for coming on today, and I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
And until next time, guys, stay nerdy.